have the day wrong, but I was kind of quickly looking at the video episodes that I was behind on this new section. And I know one of the questions was, what is it in the future? What is it that I fear? I don't know if it's episode 2, day 31 or 32, but I'm going to make this video with my tent to answer that question while I'm going down the highway, because here's what I'd like to communicate to any of you, or all of you, Michelle, Mike, in this video. I want to answer that question, but I want to talk a little bit about personal development as it relates to my situation. I mentioned that I fell behind because of the demands of my job, and that's a reality. I almost thought, I don't know if I can do this, or I want to do this because it's kind of a distraction, and maybe I can't keep up, and I don't want to fall behind, and it might be an ongoing problem. But what I have learned through personal development is that with every problem you face, and I'm going to use me because I want to talk on your behalf, every problem I face, there's a unique opportunity, a lesson, there's a breakthrough, there's a way that I can become a better person or a better version of myself. So every time I run into a challenge, I could do one or two things. And it's my choice. I can't worry about what you think or others think. I ultimately have to make the decision myself. And in some cases, all of us, myself included, we have to make a decision where other people don't understand, or other people may judge us, or others might say that person's a quitter, or that person can't fulfill their obligations, or they, and on and on and on. So when you do something, and in my case, when I make a decision, I have to live with the decision, and I can't worry about what other people think. Okay, so every time you run into a problem, and when I've run into a problem, there's always the option of saying, I made the wrong decision. One of my mentors used to say, Jack Canfield used to say, you don't live in regret. Just tell yourself that you made the best decision at that time with awareness, or in other words, what you knew at the time. You did it with the best of intentions, and sometimes you have to make a different decision. However, the other thing to do, which I normally do my best to do, is to face the challenge and figure out a solution to where I don't quit, or I don't back down on my decision. And I face that every single day with this job. I have a mission, a load that I have to do every single time, and I commit to that load, and I'm committing to get it there on time, no excuses. So that's wired in my job. So anyway, circle back to that in a minute, but the question that I'm going to answer right now in this video, I think it is episode 2, day 31, is what fears do I have about the future? But in that regard, what you'll find, regardless of what age you are, it evolves. Like your fears that you have in your 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and on beyond, they do change based on your own unique circumstances. So for me right now, I mentioned this over and over again. I'm 67 going on 70. I know that's just a number, but the reality is my fears right now are quite different than my fears of the unknown were earlier in life. So I have actually several fears, but I like to take them on as challenges. So one of the fears, or one of the realities, is when I started driving a truck 11 years ago, I was basically, literally flat broke. I had no money in the bank. My credit was all messed up. I was living with my folks. I was in my mid-50s, and I didn't have a plan B. And I was pretty depressed because I'd worked my whole entire life, and my whole financial situation was upside down. I was basically one step from being homeless. So I never saved money. I always felt like if I'm happy, I have a roof over my head, regardless of whether it's a van or a home or a studio or I'm renting or whatever. As long as I have a place I love to live, and I happy and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I didn't really care about how much money I had in my bank account or my retirement plan or anything. That I've lived in the moment pretty much my whole entire life. Okay, which is quite the opposite from my folks who had a retirement plan. That's why my dad retired when he was 50, and that's why they're a lot more financially in a much different position than I am right now. But the point is, I realized my challenge, my fear, what I was faced with is I was getting older and I wasn't going to be able to drive a truck forever, and I didn't know how long. And once I stopped driving a truck, I was not going to make the kind of money I'm making now as a truck driver doing anything else. I'd probably be stuck doing a job I hate, making $8 to $10 an hour somewhere, because this job I love, and I don't make gazillions of dollars, but for example, this last couple runs that I've done, going to New York and then going from New Jersey to Seattle, and then now going from Seattle to LA, I've made a little over $3,000. So I'm not going to make that kind of money. Now that's before taxes. Doing anything else, plus I'd probably hate it. So the point is, one of my fears that motivates me is to change my way of being and the way I live my life so that I can maximize my time when I'm driving right now. So the bottom line, I can save so that if I drive another 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I figure I potentially could, I believe, drive another 5 to 6 years. 5 to 6 years, okay, is kind of my projection, to where I'm maybe 73, 74, maybe even longer. But my point is, my objective to overcome my fear and to face my fear is to live a minimalist lifestyle. I had a fairly nice new Sonata Sport, and I had a house, and I had the basic trappings of stability, a house and a car and all of that stuff. But I realized in my job I don't have to have all that stuff. So without going into all the details, I sold my car. I have a home I can go to, but I don't have any mortgage or house expenses. So my only expenses is my mobile phone and my food. So what that's helped me to do is face my fear of where I was not able to work anymore, but I had no money, and I was still living month to month in the moment like I've lived my whole entire life, and changed my whole way of being so that I'm not in the situation that I potentially could be in if I didn't really wake up and start addressing things differently. So I'll give you specifics. I've said this before. I came back from Japan after being in Japan for 2 months, and it was my 5th trip. When I came back, I actually had another month where I didn't work because I had to go through a new rehire process with my job, which I lost another month's worth of income. So I was gone 3 months, and I lost 3 months of income. So when I came back, I don't like to come back where I have zero. I had approximately around $3,000 in the bank, but I was thinking I've got to really, 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 really focus on minimalism and saving money. Well, the point is, since coming back from Japan, now I'm really happy. I do have around $30,000 in savings alone, not to mention what I have in my checking. I minimize my expenses. So the point is, if I work another 6 years, I have the potential of saving maybe $150,000 or so and have my Social Security income. So that when I stop working, I'm not living month to month. I have that as a projection and a goal that I'm really serious about. Now, obviously, some stuff can happen along the way that I wasn't planning on. Well, I'll have to face those things. But the point is, that was one of my fears that I wanted to figure out how to overcome. And the way you overcome fears, in my opinion, you face them, you don't go into denial, and you figure out a plan. Now there are sometimes, like the other thing is health, of course. At my age, anything can happen, from a stroke, a heart attack, anything, cancer, whatever. I have to face the reality that along the way, even though I have a projection of what I want to do, something can happen I wasn't planning on that could change the whole dynamics of my goal and my plan. But what I do is I look at the problem or the fear, and I'll wrap up with this, and then I try to figure out something that will solve that particular issue, that particular fear. And truck driving does. Truck driving kind of solves a lot of problems with just one focus, one activity. You know, I don't have to worry about my rent, my housing, my transportation, my car. I don't have to worry about food. I don't have to worry about stability. It just solves a lot of the problems. So that's really my primary focus. And that's what I wanted to share with this particular video. I believe it's episode 2, day 31. I might have the days wrong, but I know that was one of them. So worst case, I'll download this on a particular right day. But that's the answer to that question. Rolling down the highway. And by the way, I'm also doing this running down the highway because I realize I'm falling behind. I have to integrate this whole process in my work. I can't wait for the ideal moment to shoot a video because it's always over my head. There's a pilot coming up, exit 554, done again. But if I have to wait for the ideal moment to run the video, I'm always thinking about it, and then I'm always distracted while I'm working because I'm thinking about doing this video. So I'm going to start doing my videos all kinds of times during the day when I'm working. So I'm going to sign off at 11:41 on this video, answering, I hope, the question, what are some of my fears, or what is my fear about the future? And I'm going to sign off now. Have a wonderful